Hello, this is actually kind of an impromptu video, but it's something that's been on my mind for a while now, and I just wanted to post basically like a direct? No, I just wanted to post an update to this video right here that went pretty viral, or it was very popular. Like the Daily Mail wrote I was gonna say an article. That's generous for the Daily Mail. The Daily Mail wrote about it. And it was, I mean, I think it's something that like resonated with a lot of people at the time, and that's why it was so popular. And I think the reason for that was because people were looking for an answer, and I felt like I had the answer at the time. Now, I was wrong about a lot, but I was also right about some things. So I wanted to just basically tell you what I was wrong and what I was right about. Let's get into it. So just for those of you who, and I mean, you can watch it too, like I'll link it down below or whatever so that you can get like the full context. But essentially it was a video where I was talking about cutting refined sugar and processed foods out of my diet completely, how I went about doing that, and the effects that I saw when I was eating processed sugar and foods and when I wasn't. And one of the main like physical appearance things that I noticed was that my dark circles get much brighter. I'm a person who has hereditary dark circles. I've had them my whole life. I have the childhood photos to prove it. Many of you have seen them. They're not gonna go away, but when I did notice that when I cut out processed foods and refined sugar, my dark circles get a lot brighter. Like they just look, my complexion looks brighter. And I feel like this is something that a lot of people experience when they say like, you know, they ate a bunch of crappy food and made them feel bad and their skin started breaking out and inflammation and all of that kinds of stuff. I actually spoke to the dietitian that I was working with for a little while. I think I've referred to her as a nutritionist a few times. I got them mixed up. Dietitians are the ones who like actually have like went to medical school. Nutritionists, anyone can be a nutritionist. Anyway, I spoke to her about, like specifically asked her this question, and there isn't necessarily any like hard evidence that shows that eating like high sugar refined foods are going to cause inflammation in the body. I can't remember exactly what she said about it, but it's kind of like this balance thing where like, if you're eating more refined sugar and highly processed foods, you're probably eating fewer like vegetables and fruits and things that are going to give you more minerals and vitamins. And so it's probably a combination of those two things, like getting too little of this and a little too much of this. That's just like a little bit of a side tangent. What I was extremely wrong about was my mindset. In that video, I remember saying, like, I can't trust myself around these foods. Like, I can't trust myself around refined sugar. I can't trust myself around, like, especially certain foods, which for me were, it was just Easter, like the Cadbury eggs. Stop. Smart food popcorn was a really big one for me. Lots of chocolates, like Nutella, kill me. Like, I'm dead. Okay, Nutella, it's dead. It's dead, I'm dead, we're dead. And I actually remember speaking to my brother. I will link a video where I talked about my binge eating experience, my therapy experience around binge eating this past year. I'll pop that up here for you if that's something that you're interested in, because I'm not going to go like so in depth on that. Oh yeah, I remember talking to my brother a while back about my binge eating experience, this like compulsion to eat and fill this like hole. And he was like, even after you have like a satisfying meal? And I was like, yeah, dude, it has nothing to do with that. Like, it has nothing to do with hunger. So my mentality was very much like, I have no control over certain foods, and they tended to be refined foods, highly processed foods. I'm now in a place where all of that is so balanced. And it's really crazy. Like, it's still very new to me, and I never thought I could get here. And that's one of the reasons that I made that video talking about my binge eating experience. I don't know why I keep saying that. My therapy experience, my binge eating therapy experience. So that people who can't picture themselves making progress could picture something. In that video where I talk about quitting sugar, I was talking very much about like the positive effects that I felt after quitting, and basically doing kind of like a detox slash I guess, binge, honestly, of like natural sugars, like what I considered to be natural sugars. So naturally occurring sugars. So like fruit. I viewed fruit as being like much better than a candy bar. And in a lot of ways it is, but the main piece that I was missing was how I viewed these things and what they said about me when I ate them. I had a very like negative, positive dichotomy going with food. And if I ate the candy bar, if I had one candy bar, it was failure. And I was bad and I had done something horrible and I needed to make up for it. If I chose the apple over the candy bar, I was proud of myself, but I was still suffering because it didn't satisfy that like craving or just the fact that I wanted like something that was more sweet. The main reason that I wanted to make this video is because my mindset was wrong. It was wrong. It was off. And it's not, we sort of like, I think like right now, the way that we view mindset is very much this like, it's very moral. It's like I don't, instead of I have to drop my kids off at school, it's I get to drop my kids off at school. Instead of I have to walk to the post office, I get to walk to the post office because I have 2 working legs and thank God for that and blah, blah, blah. And not that that's a bad thing, but it does kind of like reinforce this like I should feel bad for feeling bad, I guess. This like you shouldn't feel bad and you should appreciate everything that you have, which again isn't like necessarily wrong, but it's like for someone who has this already is struggling with this like positive negative view of themselves, there's this morality, this dichotomy between their choices, that sort of thing can really just like double down on the shame. And so that a person who is like, oh, this is how I should be living my life, I get to, not I have to, they might say that. It's kind of like those affirmations, like saying that to yourself in the mirror or something. You might be saying it to yourself and thinking like, if I say this, it'll make me feel better. But you're not truly believing it. And the way to truly believe it is by like doing a serious deep dive and figuring out like what the fuck is going on in there. And that was basically like my whole experience with my therapy around binge eating. And truly changing your mindset is it's not as easy as like a flipping a switch and just being like now you're positive, like reframe it with what you're saying. It's not that easy. And especially a person who is pretty introspective and has spent time having these like conversations in their head or like these thoughts, like why do I feel this way? Why do I feel negatively about this? Why am I experiencing this shame? Why do other people seem to make it seem so easy? It's really detrimental to those people because they are cognitively able to understand it, but they're not actually able to feel it deep down. And that's very much how I felt. Again, I'm just gonna like scream it from the rooftop. I'm a huge proponent of therapy. It has helped me. Like I can't even talk about how much it's helped me. And there are a lot of caveats to that. You have to find the right type of therapy, the right therapist. It is very much a relationship, and it's a lot of work. Like it's so much fucking work. Just finding the right type of therapy and the right therapist is so much work. And then there's a therapy on top of it. So I don't want to discourage people, but I want to make sure that people are fully aware that that is a path that is extremely helpful, but it's a lot. It takes a lot in like every aspect. But that is truly how you get to the point where you are able to reframe your thinking. And now I'm in a place where I can view food as just food. It is food, and I don't have this positive negative. I don't have this shame feeling anymore. This like, I'm bad because I ate this candy bar. Like yesterday I had a donut. I had a donut. I really wanted a donut. And it just feels, I don't know, donut just like feels funny to say. I no longer have that, like I ate this and now I have to punish myself and I have to make up for it. Now it's more so like, it's just sort of ingrained in me. It's effortless. I don't have to spend a ton of time thinking about it. that like I wanted this thing, I had this thing, and then I moved on with my life. And I didn't make my choices later on based on I need to make up for this. I made them based on how do I feel and what do I want in this moment. And to truthfully, after I ate the donut, kind of hurt my stomach a little bit. I was like, you know what? That tasted good. Probably didn't need the whole thing. And I don't feel so good right now. And you know what? I didn't want to eat a bunch of really bad food after that. I didn't want to like eat a bag of chips or something after that because I didn't feel so good. And I was like, yeah, maybe like a little bit of course correction. But that's how it goes now. My motivation for choosing like nutrient dense, specifically whole foods is no longer these are the correct foods. It is these are the foods that make me feel good, and I care about my longevity, and I care about the way that I feel. And there is a small piece of it that's like I care about the way that I look, but it doesn't rule me any longer. So that negativity, that comparison, that shame, the spiraling, that has been removed. And it's been replaced by what feels like just ease, I guess. Like, I think ease is like the best way to describe it. And it's very strange. Like, it's so new. It's so new. Like having a quiet mind and not feeling like I'm constantly like worried about something and hating myself is so new. But I do want to acknowledge that like I had a few, like for instance, I had a few days, I had maybe like 2 weeks where everything was very balanced. I was making like effortlessly healthy choices. And I was feeling really good. And then I had some days where like we went out with some friends and I don't really drink, but like we went to a wine bar. So like I had to have wine. So I was drinking some wine. And then later that night, I was just like, my boyfriend had brought up the idea of ice cream because like there was a salt and straw in like the little like plaza where the wine bar was. And he was like, oh, there's a salt and straw. And I was like, after dinner, we're going to get ice cream. Like I wanted to get like a little ice cream cone. And that didn't end up happening. And so when I got home, I was like, I need that little sugar kick. Like I want that. So I got some frozen yogurt and I didn't treat it the way that I used to. What it used to be was like, I need to have this right now or I'm going to die. And I need to eat the entire thing, even though it barely even tastes good anymore and I feel sick and I want to die. It was like I put a little bowl and I did my little toppings and I was like, that was good. And then I went to bed and I had some acid reflux because eating it at like 10 o'clock at night is just like not a good idea when you're like 35. So take advantage of it while you're still like 17 or however old you might be. And then I had a couple other days where it was just like, a little bit of a little extra refined sugar, the donut, nothing egregious. But I do notice that when I do that when it sort of stacks up in like a few days, that like my dark circles start to get like a little bit darker. I see a little bit more redness in my face. I start to see a little bit more inflammation, breakouts. It seems to be a pattern that those things happen. And I don't really like that. So it's kind of now, it's more of a reminder that I'm like, there's like certain things that I don't really love that results in eating, in sort of like increasing those foods. And so I want to be able to like pull back a little bit so that I can sort of like maintain, my skin. Like I care about the longevity of me overall, whether that is my mobility, whether it's the elasticity of my skin, the health of my eyes, my whatever, I don't know. I am a person who deals with like, I tend to get injured and I've done a lot to mitigate that. Like I figured that out a lot, which is really nice. But inflammation in general, reducing that is pretty good, And that's sort of like where my mind is at now. So it's interesting because like when I rewatch this video that I posted, it's not completely wrong, but my mindset around it and how I viewed it and how I spoke about it it's lacking. It's misjudged, and I was in a completely different place. And to me, it's like so obvious to see. I know I've referenced this video a few times. I've made like a few videos about like diet and sugar because like I felt really strongly about it at the time. And I know that there were other people who also felt similarly. So that's the reason that I wanted to talk to people. And I know that there was also quite a bit of pushback. And I was I've said this in other videos, but I was very confused by it at the time because that's where my mind was. Like I was just so confused. And now reflecting, I can really see, like I can understand where those people were coming from. So yeah, this is all basically just a rant to say that mindset is everything. And it really has so much more to do with like diving deep and understanding what your experience, like where you grew up, what your experiences have been, the people that you've been around, the communities that you've existed in. So much of that, it leads you to believe certain things, and understanding yourself, like fully understanding yourself and why you've come to certain conclusions is so important. And being able to like critically think about why you think things, being able to like test your beliefs is so important. And it's really hard, especially in today's day and age. It doesn't happen enough, very little, but there are people who do it. And I would just like encourage everyone to do a little bit of reflecting. And if you feel like you are repeating the same things over and over again, and you're trying to get to a specific destination, it's just not happening, ask for help. Ask for help. Like I realize that therapy can be difficult to access. Like for instance, one of my therapists, not in network, I'm paying outside of network. It is expensive. I'm very able to do that, which I'm thankful for. I have other therapists who are within network, which is one of the reasons that I really like No CD. They are covered by a lot of insurance networks. So if you are someone who struggles with OCD, like I highly recommend them. I've been working with them and by working with, I mean like I've mentioned this before, but like I did one like working with like sponsored thing with them because I really, really like them. But I've been paying for, and I reached out to them independently like years ago. I think it's been like 3 years or 2.5, I think at this point, which is freaking crazy. But anyway, I really strongly believe in it. And like, it's so important to me, and I know how much it's done for me. And I just like encourage everyone to at least just give it a shot. Like if you feel like you're in a place where you just are not able to get to where you want, like sometimes you just have to ask for help. And this is coming from someone who was like anti-therapy for like a lot of their life and felt like I could do everything on my own, that like I had the answers, I could figure it out. I don't need anyone's help. I don't want anyone's help. But I figured it out by asking for help. I think that's how I got there. Anyway, this is such a ramble. Honestly, like very impromptu. It's just like a topic it's been on my mind, and I wanted to address that video specifically because of how popular it was. And it's just important to me. It's important to me. And I'm still thinking about it. And I just hope that this resonates, or even if it doesn't, maybe it gives you a little bit of insight into someone that you know who might share some similarities to me in a lot of those ways. I don't know, whatever. I literally, like, my mind is just going. I have no script. I didn't spend any time. I wasn't even going to film this today. So I'm probably rambling a lot. But yeah, that was it. I'm going to film some other stuff now. I hope that this was helpful. And if it wasn't, then whatever. If it was, then that's good. Bye.